Nice big work for him. Ain't that you, son? We'll go out in the break, but I'm telling you, Kevin McCarthy was telling journalists and reporters. Kevin McCarthy was telling journalists and reporters that he had the votes. He was telling them this since he never had the votes. Did he even try? Like, did he even try to count? Can he not do math? I mean, was he just lying? He never had the votes. He was walking around the Capitol in November and December telling reporters he had the votes. He never had the votes. And he's about to wear the golden sombrero. So, but see, even though I'm happy with this, it just shows you how ludicrous our politicians are, that they just can do whatever they want. How do you do this 4 times? How do you do this 4 times? It should have never even happened once. I mean, that right there alone shows you why Kevin McCarthy shouldn't be the speaker. He shouldn't have lost 1 vote. He's lost 4. This is like if I'm trying to get into a crawl space or something, or there's this thing in St. Louis called the City Museum, and they have all these different like crawl spaces. It's this big thing. Kids love to crawl through it and play games in it. It's pretty cool. I remember as a kid. But this is like me trying to go into that now as an adult and not being able to squeeze through a tree that you can climb into, and I have to get helped out, and then I try to squeeze into it. Probably you're saying, okay, what's wrong with this guy? He can't fit in there, but I'm just trying to go in. And then I go in for the 4th time. Now you're just insane. Now you just need to be committed. The golden sombrero is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, DeSantis is just soaring above it all, like an eagle, like a hawk. Just soaring. Very impressive from Ron DeSantis. I'm very impressed by Ron DeSantis. I'm not worried about this to die. So this is an interesting thing to witness. I think it's a positive thing. I think if you're Kevin McCarthy, you're embarrassed. I think if you're the mainstream establishment, conservative media, you're embarrassed. If you're the GOP establishment, the Republican donor class, you're embarrassed. If you're Kevin McCarthy, you're embarrassed. But you should be. You thought you could beat we the people. You thought you could finally have some representation in the House that feels the same way. A Democrat or two that votes for McCarthy, I don't think he's going to get the votes here. And so now you have a golden sombrero wearing Kevin McCarthy. If he doesn't renounce, or if he doesn't remove himself and say, I'm not going to do this anymore, then he's just a total embarrassment and the exact swamp alligator that Matt Gaetz warned us about. But so how can any Republican keep doing this fuel or too connected or whatever to make this break from the establishment and not look back? We finally have it now. And we're about to see just spur a new movement for other Republicans to say, boy, you know, I bought into this whole McCarthy thing, and it was not what I was told it was. Maybe these guys over here got the right idea. All right, hour 1 in the book. Remember, folks, InfoWarsStore.com. It's your support at InfoWarsStore.com, buying the great supplements that keeps us on the air.
If you're concerned about the power grid and want to generate your own supply of off-grid electricity, this will be the most important message you'll hear this year. Here's why. We now have a small number of solar generators back in stock. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving backup power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, solar generators run quietly, emit no dangerous fumes, and produce an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. Whether it's wildfires, dangerous weather, power issues, or just getting off the grid, you'll never have to suffer through painful power outages again. Even better, all this week, radio listeners get over $700 in free off-the-grid bonuses too. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more and check availability. That's mysolarbackup.com. Look for the free report, Crisis Cooling, how to make absolutely sure your meat, milk, and medicines stay safe and cool in any power outage. Yours free at mysolarbackup.com.
We hear
hear it over and over again from everybody. Why doesn't somebody do something? Why doesn't somebody expose the New World Order? Why doesn't somebody take back reset and Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab? Well, guess what? We're doing it. The audience, that means you, the viewers, with our broadcast and our guests, are the number one enemy of the globalists. We've been the most effective at taking it to them. But ladies and gentlemen, if we don't have funds, we can't stay on there. Have a shortfall the last 6 months of at least $200,000 a month. We are going into the hole. We'll not be able to stay on the air if you don't support. So please, go to InfoWarsStore.com and get great products today. Sign up for auto ship, an additional 10% off. But you can also just make straight donations right there at the big red banner, top of InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWars.com. A $10, $20, $100, you can do donations. Cancel anytime. Just please commit to keep us on the air. And I thank you for your past support, and I thank you for your future support. Now go to InfoWarsStore.com.
And CN Tower in Toronto. This is Worldwide Christian Radio. WWCR, Nashville, Tennessee, USA.
You asked about the status of a young NFL football player that has a cardiac arrest on the field and needs 9 minutes of CPR. And they say, how did you ask? But they demanded that you take the vax and prove your vax status with your little vaccine passport just to go have dinner, work, travel, movies, ball games. No, your curiosity about that player, no, you're not allowed to ask those questions. Which, hey, I'm all for consistency. Medicals that wanted to violate your medical privacy, your medical freedom, that are now telling you, how dare you ask? How dare you? Now, the censorship on Facebook, and by the way, we're going to get into the Twitter files later today addressing the censorship, but the hashtag died suddenly in response to the vaccine deaths. The hashtag died suddenly hashtag has now been banned from Facebook. You can't use it, and if you search for it, enter your search results. Facebook covering up the vaccine injuries. Now, this is an incredible story developing for Damar Hamlin, who, as I've explained, was on pace to be, and still is, I would say. He should win it this year, actually. There's a lot of deserving men, but Damar Hamlin may be Walter Payton Man of the Year for this one. Such a positive impact on the community around him as he is still in intensive care and on life support. Last I checked, more than $6.5 million has been raised in his name for his charity, which is already doing amazing work in local communities. And now, with more than $6.5 million to work with, surely is going to expand and do even more great work. And the numbers are just going to keep coming in. So many professional football players and big CEOs and business owners have donated money. Robert Crane on Patriots donate $18,003 with the 3 for his number. Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Devontae Adams, Carpet Man Flooring. I mean, the list just goes on. The number is going to keep growing. It was $6.5 million this morning when I checked. So I would expect it's probably closer to 7 now. Wow. A guy who is so positive for his community, so positive for the people around him, so good at making the world a better place, that even as he lies with his life in the balance, he's doing to improve the world around him. That's just, what an incredible story that is, and big ups to everybody being a part of it. It's amazing what humanity can do when we come together for something good. And then they lit up Niagara Falls last night, blue, for support of Damar Hamlin, and it was a pretty amazing spectacle. This quite frequently, I suppose. Tonight, Niagara Falls will be illuminated blue to pay tribute to OPP officer Gregors Pershala, who was fatally shot in the line of duty. Sending our condolences to this young family, all affected by this tragedy. So, an officer fallen in the line of duty going to be remembered tonight with the blue Niagara Falls. Now, there have been disagreements here. In fact, I've got a doctor coming up in the next segment. I'm not sure his take on all this. He may agree or disagree with me. It's perfectly healthy to have a debate. Harrison Smith on the American Journal this morning disagreed with me. Fine, I don't take that personally. They disagree. That's their opinion. Leading anti-COVID vaccine lawyer responds to NFL player's cardiac arrest event during Monday Night Football. Now, I think the Gateway pundit Jim Hoff, the great guy, disagrees with me with headlines like this. With roughly 1.7 million NFL hits in the last 50 years, why have we never seen an arrhythmia cardiac arrest before? And the answer might be because you've never had the COVID vaccines before. But this is a freak event. And who was I telling you had a similar event? Chris Pronger. Now, there's millions of times that hockey players have been hit by pucks and they've never had a cardiac event. Tweeted that out just last night, saying this is what happened to me. So, was I proven right? Maybe the rules.
There is a war on for your mind. Your mind is a battlefield. This is an information war. InfoWars popularized those terms more than 2 decades ago. And today, whether it's Donald Trump or Governor DeSantis or Dr. Robert Malone, they're all using the terms that InfoWars popularized because we understand the enemy's operations and we know how to beat them. But we can't do it without funding. And we make it easy to fund with great products that empower you and your immune system. But I'm asking you to take action. We're nonviolent. But every time you donate money, every time you buy products, every time you keep us on air, you are literally, nonviolently, politically, punching the New World Order in the nose. Punching their lies in the nose. Now is a critical juncture. So please go to InfoWars.com and donate now. Donate now. Donate now. Donate now. Donate now. Donate.
All right, quickly, it appears, as we've said, McCarthy is going to be wearing the golden sombrero very shortly with the votes coming in. We'll continue to monitor that, but it looks like it's going to be the same result unless a shock group of Democrats votes McCarthy. He's going to be wearing the golden sombrero. It'll be official in about 10 minutes. We'll be continuing to monitor that situation. Now, joining me now is Dr. Paul E. Alexander. I'm not even going to get into his huge resume here. Very impressive. And you can follow him, palexander.substack.com for all of this. Now, I said, hey, let's get a doctor on to respond to the football player collapsing on the field with cardiac arrest. Let's hear from a doctor. And so Dr. Alexander joined me. Doctor, upon seeing the event, seeing the contact, obviously seeing the response since the Monday Night Football game, what is your conclusion about this cardiac event, and how do you analyze kind of the commentary surrounding it, Dr. Alexander?
I did work for the Trump administration prior, and the reality about it is that when we, based on the uncertainty so far, based on the fact that the Bills organization reported about 100% vaccination of its players, I think maybe just the quarterback Josh Allen reported he did not. We likely that right there and COVID injection led to a high adrenaline arrhythmia episode that caused the cardiac arrest. And we can't, as a differential diagnosis, again, you can't rule it out. And post these shots, this gene injection, you've had a lot of myocarditis, etc. So a second time on arrival to the hospital, based on report, it raises the possibility that we are looking at potentially that he had what we call silent myocarditis, that didn't understand the extent of the damage with the exertion on the field, with the flood of adrenaline, etc., onto a damaged heart that's scarred. That puts too much pressure on this commotio cordis, diagnostical exposure, and even this discussion of the potential with that field. All NFL players today must demand that they will not take the vaccine. They may have some myocarditis and they could fall on that field.
Moment that the NFL is have here, and it's kind of a disgusting approach. And so how they deal with this, quite frankly, I think they're waiting to see what happens this week with the individual in intensive care, Hamlin, and they're going to kind of just wait and see this one out instead of just coming out, telling the truth, and making the right decision, which is the suggestion that you just made. They don't want to do that. Too much hangs in the balance. I think they're waiting for an outcome. It's going to be one of the most controversial snaps in NFL history. Now, here's my question. Could we have a strenuous activity, and maybe it wasn't the commotio cordis at all, but this was just heavily exerted, big tackle, whether it was the impact that did it or not, he's breathing heavily, he's exerting himself. Do you think it could have been a combination of the two, or do you think...
Well, you are brilliant in the think you understand the issue. Dr. Peter McCullough wrote a brilliant Substack in the past, and myself, on this issue of dying at dawn, dying suddenly at dawn, where we are seeing this rash. To answer your question, we are seeing this rash of deaths in persons in their sleep as they're waking in the morning, and we are very confused. And like adrenaline, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine into the bloodstream when you exercise and exert yourself. That's like the players on the field. But those core tissue is scarred. Then as they are waking and they are institutes, and those adrenalines, the dopamine, epinephrine gets released, there is too much stress on a myocardial damaged heart that is damaged. And it puts too much and you get that cardiac arrest. The reality is I also put a study, a recent study we found that in 2021 was published, could cause cardiac death. And we are trying to make the argument too, and it's a very nuanced, but it's very important. I am trying to say, first of all, I wrote a stack recently on Alexander COVID News saying that Pfizer and Moderna, I am saying it is time for a black man. He took an injection. We are arguing that may have caused. This guy died on the field. Let's be frank. He died for 10 minutes in front of us. He died. You have to understand how I'm saying it. And I'm trying to say, and we are trying, McCullough, myself, Osque, to say what we are saying is this guy was experiencing myocardial scarring from a prior COVID vaccine. We need to know when was his last shot. Did he get boosted? We need to know this. There's a lot of information we need to know. We need to know was he ever tested for myocarditis, etc. So this is no simple matter.
Yeah, and I think too the issue of some big group is going to have to raise this issue, whether it's the NAACP. I mean, folks, this is inevitable to happen again if they don't take.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Burr, Physical Gold and Silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Hi, this is Sophie Wick, longtime distributor and user of longevity products. In the last few years, everything else in my life, including my business, had to be put on the back burner. Thankfully, life is getting back to normal now. But the one thing I never had to worry about was my business and my monthly commission. I've been a distributor for longevity for over 17 years, since before longevity. And I've got to say, the most amazing thing about this, simply because that's what longevity people do, even for people they don't know. For me, it has never been about getting rich. It was about a product I could stand behind, a company I could count on, and a monthly commission check that has never, not once, been late. In 17 years, longevity is truly a business for everyone, even people who have too much to do. I'm Sophie Winnick. I'm just like you. I have a real life, real ups and downs, but I know I will always have longevity.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was until I called Federal Tax Management, you could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. How'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10, 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
From a non-attorney, you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And there's no accident or hurt on the find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline now. 800-503-8625. 800-509-4492. We're here with Dr. Paul Alexander. Read his great work for the good doctor, and I'm trying to decide what we have right now, just so we can all kind of have a better understanding. Because I know there were times where, when I was playing sports through high school, I don't know if it ever happened as an adult, but I do remember a couple times as a kid where you'd be running hard or something, or I'd get kicked and hit in the chest with a soccer ball, or I'd run into a fence to catch a baseball or something like that, and you kind of get a little lightheaded, and you almost kind of black out a little bit, and maybe you even feel something in your chest for a second, and then after a couple seconds, the light comes back, and you kind of regain your balance. Everything seems to be okay. Maybe a lot of people have experienced that. Maybe athletes experience that. Is that the kind of thing where this could have been innocent enough, where you just kind of have a little moment of, whoa, okay, I'm shaking up and hey, but because of myocarditis or a potential fiber clot, that moment of coming back and being okay never happens?
Well, look, here's how I would try and answer that question to you again. And there's a lot of individual differences in people. But the reality about it is, if you look at that commercial that they're trying to say happened, he took a blow, yes, got lightheaded, but it was enough to cause that kind of injury. Remember, the data tells us, I was looking at some data last night, that it's less than one a year. It is that rare, number one. Number two, the age group that it happens is generally kids like around 10, 12. That happens with like a projectile, like a ball, a baseball, a cricket ball, a hockey puck, direct blow to the chest, and really the data suggests to the left lower section of the chest. The chest padding is such to absorb those sorts of blows. And no matter how many times you look at it, you could see that, yeah, there was body intact, but it doesn't come across. I look at so much ball. I spent a lot of time in Buffalo, across the border in Niagara, and I actually lived there, and the reality is, looking at it, it doesn't look like a hit, a devastating hit the way it's being described in the media. Again, I'm trying to say that there is a potential, several potentials, that this guy had myocarditis and some myocardial scarring that was manifesting itself within the backdrop of the exertion of the game, the high adrenaline, onto a damaged, scarred heart. Myocardium was damaged. That cardiac arrest, as you saw. In other words, I'm making the argument that he could have gone down absent of the hit, that he was going down at that moment. The hit happened. That's why we saw him jump up. If you look properly, he clapped his hands. He was about to move away and go about his business, and then he fell. So there's a temporal issue here, the timing. Some say that it could be due to the hit. I don't think we had that information. Those who made that argument, the commercial codes, those are television, CNN, inept doctors, who it is those people who are trying to avert your gaze and to stop the conversation and attacking me, attacking mother, attacking us now as we are speaking, and raising the vaccination and a potential link. These are the same people who for 3 years forced you to lockdown, lied and deceived the public about it. These lockdowns which showed us now, we have declared data to show that every single lockdown failed, every school closure failed, every mask mandate failed, every business closure failed, to the tune that people in America who locked down businesses, who were laid off, children who were sent home. We had so many suicides. People took their lives from the hopelessness and the helplessness. These same television doctors are now coming out to tell you. I believe nothing they say. I turn it off. CNN, MSNBC, even Fox at times I turn off. I come to Alex Jones. I go to Alex Jones or Stu Peters. I go to your forum to get my information, because at least you talk the truth.
Well, and here's part of that process too, because for full transparency, I still believe that it was the hit that led to the cardiac arrest. I believe that personally. However, I think that you're dealing with a situation where if he has a fiber clot that's 5 feet long in his body, like other young football players have been discovered, or he does have myocarditis, that's what made a bad situation worse. I'm still of that belief, but we're willing to have the conversation, and that's the key difference here. We're willing to have the conversation that needs to be had, and here's where the conversation goes in my eyes, Doctor, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, because I don't see how this goes any other way but one of these two ways. One, the NFL is going to have to sit here and face a new reality that, let's just say this has nothing to do with the vaccine or he wasn't vaccinated. Well, now the NFL is going to come out and they're going to have to say what is considered a routine tackle or a routine hit in the NFL is now potentially fatal. Well, now all of a sudden we have to reevaluate the game altogether in ways that we haven't had to yet, but we've kind of flirted with the concussion issues and the mental health problems and the suicides. Or, as you suggested earlier, they're going to have to be honest that this event happening again is inevitable. Do you see any other path forward here for the NFL?
Well, the way you laid it out again, I like how you critically think about these things, and the way those two sides of it is what they're facing now, and they're in a bind. Because which direction they're going to, they're going to lose tremendous amounts of money. The NFL doesn't care about the lives of these players. Don't care what you saw on the field. Many of those players who you saw shedding tears is because they're vaccinated, and these people are not stupid. They're following Jones too. They're following me. They're following McCullough, Rich, etc. They're looking and reading. These are critical thinking people. They looked at him and realized that could be me. That's the issue at its inflection point. What it does next is critical. They could destroy it complete. Destroy the league complete. How much they lie, how much they cover up, how much they mislead. They need the popular. Look, I'll say it this way. It's absolutely imperative. It is incumbent on the NFL and the families of this guy, Damar Hamlin. They must tell the nation. They must tell the NFL players across America, not just Buffalo Bills, what is his vaccine status? That is a key question. Don't hide that. Because then other players can make informed decisions. Well, if this guy was vaccinated, and he took a booster last week, etc., we need that. We knew the evidence that showed that if you have myocarditis, let's say this guy had silent myocarditis, medically, you are not supposed to engage in any physical exertion for 6 months.
Well, we're about to come to a break, and I've got one more question for you on the other side of it, but here's what I think is so key about what you just analyzed is that they postponed this game, folks. The reports were that they told them 5 minutes, get back on the field. The players decided not. Was that because they saw their player out on the field potentially dead, or was that because my heart might give out next?
You want to beat the New World Order? You want to stop their globalist agenda? So do I. And I've been the most effective individual in the fight against the globalists. And I've got their number, and I know how to bring them down. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't do it without your support. And the good news is we're only under about 200,000. The bad news is the enemy is intensifying their attacks on every front, but I'm not going to while getting great products at the same time that will empower you and your family. InfoWars.com for the best supplements and more, or towards the fight, not part of it going towards propulsion. But I thank you all for your support. Please commit now to go to InfoWarsStore.com and get great products.
Healthcare collapse, veterans are currently struggling finding jobs. Frustrated looking for a job? Change your tactics. Join the 94-Watt Crusade. Navy SEALs, Marines, pilots, Army officers, military police, sheriffs, police officers, firemen, and first responders already enrolled.
Extendivite really works. Here's just a few testimonials from Amazon. RL, 5 stars. Been taking this for 2 months now. I feel better. My husband started taking Extendivite, and he said everyone needs this for their health. Great product, great people. Joseph, it works great. This product has made my blood pressure and cholesterol stable. I highly recommend it. JC. Great product. Has worked well these last few years. To get your Extendivite today, go.com or call us at 1-877-928-8822.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Airlines have just reduced their prices even more. Book tickets. Then call the low-cost airlines travel hotline right now. For prices so low, we can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rates and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines. 802-341-4535. 802-341-4535. 802-341-4535. That's 802-341-4535.
Waging war on corruption.
It's Alex Jones
Coming to you live from the front line of the info war. And now, your host, Owen Troy.
All right, quick update on the speaker vote. This is hilarious. The Republican establishment, the conservative media is all hemming and hawing, just how I expected. Oh, it's so bad. McCarthy, oh, it's so bad. And even on Fox News, they say McCarthy appears to have lost the vote. He lost. Appears? No, he lost. That's like them saying, remember, they called Arizona before a vote was cast. So they'll call it for the Democrat Biden before a vote is even tallied, but Kevin McCarthy, after all the votes are tallied and lost, they say appears to have lost. That's hilarious stuff. We'll continue that coverage. We'll see. Now McCarthy is reportedly reaching across the aisle to looking for votes. It's never before seen in my life an NFL game postponed mid-game. They rarely even cancel them at all. Like, it never happens. Whether anything, they have to play the games the way the schedule works. And reportedly, the NFL said, take 5 minutes, get your teams ready, and get back on the field and play, because they saw their fellow player die on the field, and that, how do you go play football after that? Or they're worried, maybe a little of both. I wanted to give you a chance to respond to that, Dr. Alexander.
This guy, for 9 or 10 minutes, died. And modern medical technology, thank goodness, brought him back. We heard that he died again, either on the way to the hospital or at the hospital. This guy is very, very sick. He's very, very ill. And if it is that the COVID gene injection, the mRNA DNA platform did this, they have serious... But the reality is that these players are looking on. They must be shocked and stunned, because we have reports over the last 2 years of soccer players across the world, high performance athletes, just dropping dead on the field, on the pitch. So it's the first time. And everyone is just pretending. These instances of people just suddenly dying, and even, as I mentioned earlier, dying in your sleep, dying them he had is that vaccine. That's the common thread. So they're not to feel. So how they handle this and the truth is very, very important. And I think they're going to try and pretend that the vaccine, they might even confabulate that he took no vaccine. That would be impossible for them to say now, because the bills have been on record saying 100% back. And we need some leadership. We need honesty.
To my final question for you here. We, some NFL players, have what appear to be vaccine side effects, but they were detected before something happened on the field. A couple players headlined, a couple players had medical procedures done with what are the top vaccine side effects, the blood clots, the heart type situations. But when I look at the deaths that have come from the side effects from the vaccines, most of them appear to be in high school athletes and younger. As you mentioned, the reason why Hamlin was able to survive this is because of the top medical care that he received. Is that why we're seeing this mostly happening with younger athletes because they don't when they go into these events, and so sadly they don't have somebody there right there, professional teams getting on top of the situation within seconds. Do you think maybe that's why most of the athletes and football players dying are younger ones?
I think again you're on top of the money here. The thing is that timing is key, and the way the NFL or the Buffalo Bills emergency, the medical team responded was out, and they they were the reason for him being. If he is alive right now, he's on a ventilator. I wouldn't even say he is in a classic sense alive, but that's gonna have to be. We're gonna have to find out shortly. But they did what they need to do to back and to get his heart going, from what the reporting says. But remember, the science is showing us that the mRNA vaccine itself, that the delivery of the mRNA in the lipid nano, that particular platform, whether it's the Pfizer mRNA or the Moderna mRNA, both have resulted in tremendous risk of myocarditis. And the problem here, sir, is the myocarditis is silent. That many times you get myocarditis, vaccine related, and even from infection, viral infection, even before this COVID situation came along, it be silent. And that's why many young people, when they get viral myocarditis in their lives, let's say at 15, whatever, you don't know. Nobody ever tested it, and then at 40 years old, when your heart and the system is not compliant or as rigorous and robust as before, and you then exert yourself with some physical exercise, at that point it's too much for the heart. So, to me, the issue is, the data is showing us that the Moderna shot is much more toxic than the Pfizer shot, and the second shot is much more toxic than the first shot. So it depends. To answer your question, it depends on how many shots they took, which one they took, but both Pfizer and Moderna are deadly from our examination of the data. And also the issue is that that question timing. If there's a proper support, that would be defining the matter of whether someone lives or dies. And that's why the issue of dying in your sleep, that substack that we wrote about dying just before dawn, is so important, because if your heart stops and your partner, let's say, or you, a young person, you're in your bedroom, nobody knows, nobody could revive you, and by the time they find you the next day, you're dead. So it's a tragedy, and we need honest answers. We've been clamoring 2 years now since they brought these gene injection plans. We've been clamoring that the data that Pfizer and Moderna presented to FDA to get the emergency use authorizations were flawed. Methodology of the studies were flawed. It was not properly tested. It was not even tested. And the vaccine showed itself quickly to be highly ineffective, got into negative effectiveness territory, means the vaccine doesn't work. And it's harmful. Myocarditis, pericarditis, clotting, bleeding, VITT, which is paradoxical, vaccine-induced thrombocytopenia, you're bleeding, you're clotting at the same time.
Which, of course, is much more dangerous than getting COVID itself or the flu. And, Doctor, let's do this, because I want to talk about your book. It's an important issue in your book. Let's do one more segment on your book, because that's important. And I'll just kind of put a bookend on this discussion. The sad thing is, I don't expect to get any truth from the NFL. I don't think they've been honest. They haven't been honest about anything as far as whether it's concussions, mental health, or vaccine status forever. So, sadly, expecting any honesty there. But let's come back with Dr. Alexander and his
Pork behind a desk every day to earn a living. You're out and about making it happen. And sometimes you get a little bit behind on your paperwork. You know, like bookkeeping and paying your taxes. It's easy to get behind in paying your taxes. It happens to the best of us. And you know what happens next. Big bad IRS comes knocking on your door. And when that happens, you need to call the good old boys at the tax doctor. Let them do what they do best. Deal and negotiate with the IRS so you pay the lowest you can in back taxes that the law allows. We are a 100% U.S.-based company, and we've saved our clients millions over the years in back taxes. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call our friends right now at the tax Doctor and learn more.
800-932-5140. 800-932-5140. 800-932-5140. That's 800-932-5140.
I had no idea it would destroy my life. But before it happened, I had a successful business in Austin, Texas. Everyone laughed at me when I shut that business down, but I could not ignore the wake-up. I was volunteering to get locally grown food into a school. That project was a complete failure, and I discovered that there were few local farmers. There's only 4 days' worth of food in the grocery stores, and everything comes 1,500 miles via a just-in-time trucking system. I lost friends and family who told me I was crazy to worry about that. But I kept at it. I'm Marjorie Wildcraft. Those of us who know what's going on in the world know you need to become self-reliant before the dollar collapses. I've created a free webinar at tcnfood.com. I can show you, like I've shown hundreds of thousands of people, how to grow live food, even if you have no experience, you're older, or you're out of shape. Do it now, before the stores are boarded up. It is not nice. Go to
Spectrum and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape.com or call 877-878-4203.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for teens or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And there's things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
Affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control. And priming the brain for other addictions. Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth. Nicotine levels and lots of promotion on media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
What is Wall of Fire fireplace grates? Our U.S. patented, made in America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day 800-274-7364. Fire heat without fireplace smoke. WallofFire.com.
Or follow his Substack, palexander.substack.com. And you have written a book. You know, there was a famous movie that came out probably about just over 10 years ago called The Dallas Buyers Club. Very popular movie, especially when it came out, very liked. Well, people don't realize the bad guy in that movie is Anthony Fauci. It's funny how people don't realize that. Very popular, very famous movie, Matthew McConaughey film, Dallas Buyers Club. The bad guy in that film is Anthony Fauci in it. Well, now you've written a new book about Fauci. Tell us what is in there.
Well, thanks very much again for having me back on. And I'm very disappointed with this speak up situation with Brian's office, because if this guy has to reach across to get, it's worse than a swamp, and I was there. So to answer your, the title of the book is Presidential Takedown. And I wrote that book with Sky Horse, who wrote the book, The Real Anthony Fauci. You can buy it at Amazon. Presidential Takedown, how Fauci, the trying to say is because I got the pleasure and privilege to work in the Trump administration in Washington, and my office was in Health and Human Services, just opposite the Capitol building. All of these players like Redfield, Hahn, and the task force, they had sub-offices in my building. Incidentally, Operation Warp Speed was run out of my building. The vaccine development and the Moderna company was run out of my building. So I knew all of these people, and I can tell you that from my vantage point, was on peace to win the election in January 2020, hands down. He would have won about 380 electoral votes in about 42 states. And we are looking at all of the data. But something went wrong from January, February 2020 to that election. And I'm trying to say by around mid of the year, June, July, it became clear that the Fauci and Birx inspired lockdowns and school closures hurt him. It hurt him terribly. I don't think President Trump really understood that they were hollowing out presidency from the inside. When Atlas wrote The Plague and the House, yes, they were hollowing out President Trump from the inside. He trusted these people. President Trump trusted Fauci, Birx, Hahn, Azar, Redfield, all of these people. But many of these people conspired and worked against him and subverted him. They worked against him to make the pandemic response failure. That's the key. It's just like Harry Carey. They created a devastating response because they knew Trump, an egotistical guy, he wanted to be on the front of the podium every day, so they let him wear it even. And that was something that we argued with the White House. Please, let the president come out to the podium, task force every day, but don't let him speak. Just let him stand in the back. But no, he had to stand in the front. He had to speak. They let him wear what? In other words, they were eviscerating him. Birx wrote in her book that they slow walk data. They held back. They sent him wrong data even. It was shocking how clear she was. They subverted him.
Yeah, actually, she was so transparent, not just in her book. I mean, even in TV interviews, she was like, yeah, if you came in with a runny nose, if you came in with a scratched knee, we counted everything as COVID. I mean, she admitted they inflated the numbers.
Everything, listen, sir, everything about COVID, from the virus, and yes, we even have data now that is showing up. The timeline actually is beginning to look like it was March 2019. That means we might be looking at late 2018. This didn't begin 20 or even January. We knew COVID was age risk stratified. We could target and focus the approach. It was amenable to risk stratification. But we just needed to focus on the vulnerable in our society and let the vast rest of society live free lives, unfettered, no lockdowns, no school closures. We could find no evidence in the entire world. They own deaths. They suffered people. They shifted the burden of mortality from the rich onto the poor. It was the poor in society who had the front face. I have to say, yes, I know a lot of you people run around and you say, well, the election was stolen. They did a mail-in ballots. I agree. You Republicans that you need to head around, and I'm speaking. I support President Trump still today. If he gets the nod, I want to rally behind him and push him through. I think he deserves a second shot. I think he would have been the greatest president the United States had in January, February 2020, had it not been for COVID, and had he not let Fauci and Birx lead that lockdown that destroyed his presidency. I think that in the end, I'd like him, to be honest, I would like him to get back up in there and up Washington. Strip all those alphabet health agencies down to the studs. Fumigate them. Fire everyone 100 down. All the directors and fire 100 deep. I would take each one. I'd take the CDC out at land places on Alcatraz. I would open Alcatraz and set up the office there. These people are really swamped, corrupted, inept, incompetent people, and they work to hurt Trump. They subverted him daily. They told me that. There are people to me in words. We to damage President Trump. The response chaotic, ungovernable, unmanageable, and they did it. They did it because Trump didn't become reelected. That's the key. They introduced enough doubt and enough pain and suffering on the American people because we wanted Trump to fire Fauci and Birx, but he didn't. And you'll have to do all of those things beyond my capacity. But I am saying that these people worked against him, and that's why we wrote the book. To get it on Amazon, it's my view. And I have nothing else to say about the guy. I think he would have gone down as the greatest president. I support Ron DeSantis even. But I want somebody up in there that when they hit the floor, they know where everything in Washington is.
Yep.
And they could begin some serious arresting and put a lot of people in jail. A lot of people in his administration and in the Biden administration need to sit down in a jail cell, from my opinion.
And millions, if not hundreds of millions of Americans share that opinion with you. Dr. Paul Alexander.substack.com, and you just heard about his book right there, explaining it all as he just laid out. Dr. Alexander, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, but we won't be able to disseminate any information if we're not on, and we need your support at InfoWarsStore.com. Remember, though, share the links, tell friends and family, share the videos, take the clips, take the stories. That's a very important element right now as the Great Awakening is ongoing and minds are opening, searching for information and sources for information. And we need to get 100% the daily value is finally back in stock, is the Real Red Pill Plus, an incredible supplement unique to anything else on your immune system and give you daily energy and longevity. It's all at InfoWarsStore.com, and this stuff is selling out fast. The new line of InfoWars Platinum has already had one of the three products, the HGA Boost, sell out. So there's still the other supplements on the InfoWars Platinum line are still on sale at InfoWarsStore.com, but one is already sold out. So get these amazing changing supplements at InfoWarsStore.com before they sell out.
Life can be full of risks. One thing risk with ever. You that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. Call now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-670-0946. 800-670-0946. 800-670-0946. That's 800-670-0946.
We hear it over and over again from everybody. Why doesn't somebody do something? Why doesn't somebody expose the New World Order? Why doesn't somebody take action against the Christians and Bill Gates and Klaus? Well, guess what? We're doing it. This audience, that means you, the viewers, with our broadcast and our guests, are the number one enemy of the globalists. We've been the most effective at taking it to them. But ladies and gentlemen, if we don't have funds, we can't stay on air. And we have a shortfall the last 6 months of at least $200,000 a month. We are going into the hole. We'll not be able to stay on the air if you don't support. So please, go to InfoWarsStore.com and get great products today. Sign up for auto ship, an additional 10% off. But you can also just make Straight Nations right there at the big donut banner at the top.com or info.com. A $10, a $20, $100, you can do recurring donations plenty time. Just please commit to keep us on the air. I thank you for your past support. I thank you for your future support. Now go to InfoWarsStore.com.
This is WWCR, Nashville, Tennessee, USA, Worldwide Christian Radio.
Alright, let's get back into the House vote situation. The fifth vote is about to take place, and McCarthy's going for the golden sombrero, ladies and gentlemen. He's going for the... Oh, I'm sorry. He's already got the golden sombrero. He's going for the platinum sombrero. Over 5. Oh, for mythical accomplishment. He's going for it. And unless he has about 10 Democrats willing to vote for him, then he's not going to get it. You know, I got to say, I don't know what to attribute this to. A lot of these politicians, and we'll include the mainstream media in here as well, they're really dumb people. Like, just really dumb. How can Kevin McCarthy be so stupid? Again, I'm not even trying to be insulting towards the guy here. I don't really know him like that. I don't support him for House Speaker because I don't trust him as a politician. And I don't see anything positive that will come from him as a speaker. But I sat on my couch at home on Monday night and did a live stream on Getter, and I said, there's no way Kevin McCarthy has the votes a bold Democrat votes for him, or perhaps somebody that has a squad to vote for him. I knew that from my couch in Austin, Texas on Monday night. How the hell did Kevin Lee and the Republicans not know that? Are they that stupid? Or are they that... What even is a futile vote 4 times knowing you don't have the votes? I mean, do you just call it insane? Is it just arrogance? Is it entitlement? Stunning stuff. Now, I suspect that there were already talks last night between McCarthy and the Republican establishment, swamp creatures, and the Democrats. I suspect that went down last night. I'd be stunned if the Democrats do vote for McCarthy. However, just as it was a bold act of political brilliance from Matt Gaetz that has put it would be a bold act of political brilliance. The only one I could see pulling this off would be AOC, and then getting the squad to join her to vote for McCarthy, to push him over the edge, to have a little leverage on him, and to just throw even a bigger wrench into the Republican Party. That would be a bold act of political brilliance, and I think the only one that could pull it off would be AOC. But if she hasn't done it to this, I don't think she's going to do it. So if we are about to witness the platinum sombrero, and if that's how this goes, this is how few have been missing it. McCarthy never had the votes. We learned it in real time. He went 0 for 1. Nothing changed. He still didn't have the votes. They voted again. He was 0 for 2. Nothing changed. He still didn't have the votes. He lost votes in the 3rd round. He was 0 for 3. So then they said, okay, this isn't going to work. You thought maybe something rational tomorrow. They show up again today. He still doesn't have the votes. Nothing changed. He goes 0 for 4. And now we're getting ready and lined up for a 5th round of voting. And are we really now this insane? Is the political now this futile? Which I don't really mind.
they're prophesying it in local areas and local countries, there is still that group that God says come out of her, and they have come out of paganism and out of heathenism and out just a small.
But there are many Christs, both those that are self-proclaimed and those that are real. And the
address, so that you can write to us with the addresses, plural, because it's more than one. We have two addresses. We got the same address, which is, it's possible to write to us that way.
Sí, hay algo que me llamó la atención, la dieta muy increíble.
Regulators, and I've heard of someone kind of signing up for a rural scheme and then promptly returning to Tokyo. But the government is, providing regulations around this initiative and keeping a tight watch, it seems, to make sure these people.
Wanted to be Speaker of the House. Instead, he goes 0-for-5. And where's the platinum sombrero? Will he go for the horn?
Eagle.com and scoop up this great CD rate before it's gone. Again, a CD of 3.5% APY, and you choose any term from 6 to...
is to see yourself through God's eyes. Because if you don't know who you are, you can't know God's purpose for your life. Well, you know,
welcome to Newsday from the BBC World Service, Roberta Mossor and James Cotton.
The funeral service of the late Pope Victor will begin shortly. We'll speak to a Ugandan priest who knew him.
The cost of living crisis in Egypt, as we will find out.
And our Africa Daily segment looks and why after restaurants often get there just a minute.
He says here that he listens to us all the time.
A lot of prophets running around tell you they're prophets.
And with hell are we at agreement. We know when God begins to judge mankind, we will judge us. Isn't that what you hear from the lying apostates in America who declare that God is not?
Hasta las 12 de la noche del 5 de enero.
Benedicto XVI manifestó afectuosos sus sentimientos hacia los cubanos y se pronunció contra el bloqueo económico, comercial y financiero que se impone a Cuba, señalando que los esfuerzos por cimentar una sociedad de amplios horizontes, renovada y reconciliada, se afectan cuando las medidas económicas impuestas desde fuera del país pesan negativamente sobre la población. Durante la vigencia del duelo oficial, el bandera de la estrella solitaria deberá izarse a media asta en los edificios públicos e instituciones militares.
Los corresponsales informan.
La caravana de la libertad continúa su recorrido por todo el país.
En la Plaza de la Libertad de la ciudad de Camagüey fue recibida la caravana que reedita la histórica marcha del ejército rebelde, encabezado por el comandante en jefe Fidel Castro, luego del triunfo de la revolución. El 4 de enero de 1959 avanzó comenzó la caravana de la libertad por las localidades de Guáymaro, Cibanicó y Botes para llegar a la ciudad de Camagüey. Hoy ya no son barbudos, como el pueblo los llamó cariñosamente. Ahora son los estudiantes, trabajadores, jóvenes y soldados, que acompañados por los combatientes de la Revolución Cubana dan continuidad a la obra iniciada hace 64 años. Así ratifica el compromiso de las nuevas generaciones la primera secretaria del Comité Provincial de la Unión de Jóvenes Comunistas, Kelly Álvarez, en nombre de la juventud camagüeyana.